I have set up a scanner on Charles Schwab where it looks for higher than expected volume. The first criteria is based on the stock price. I had applied a filter on stock prices greater than $5. The reason is because anything less than $5 to me is too close of being delisted on NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange. So that's really the reason why I prefer to have at least $5 or more for the stock price. Second criteria is the average volume based on the past 10 days greater than 1 million shares? Anything less than 1 million shares is not really liquid, which means it's harder for us to trade. Third criteria is the VROC. It's an acronym that stands for volume rate of change. As long as the VROC shows a recent spike, it will come out in our scanner. And the last criteria is OBV, an acronym that stands for on balance volume trending higher. So based on these four criteria, I have got a list of 7 stocks. These 7 stocks I have listed here on my right hand side. The first one is NNOX, NanoX Imaging Ltd. So let's go ahead and take a look at this NNOX ticker. So NanoX Imaging is engaged in the development of medical imaging systems. Its product, Nanox system, consists of hardware, Nanox Arc, and software Nanox Cloud that provides image repository, radiologist matching, online and offline diagnostics, review, and annotation. Basic earnings per share is negative 0.86 cents. Let's go back to the chart. And I felt like this is a good one to look at because the past 3 days, it appears to have higher than expected volume. So it looks like before the past 3 days, on average, NNOX has an average of 2.3 million shares traded. Up until recently, the past 3 days hover around 11 million to 20 million. This is a sign that many investors or traders are willing to get in on the action. Now, as far as the all-time high, NNOX reached as high as $95, it appears. And right now, we're looking at $8.38. So this is one of the tickets I flipped earlier today with a small profit. This is potentially another stock I'm willing to swing trade later on. NanoX earnings wasn't that great. Surprise was a negative 5.99%. Revenue was a negative 22.44%. Having said that, it looks like NNOX actually dropped and opened as low as $5.27. Since there's a strong bottom wick, to me, it means that many traders or investors are willing to buy in at this price, drove the price back up to $6.04. $6 level seems to be a good support because there were multiple candlesticks that touched the $6 level. The past 3 days actually drove the price even higher. All right, next we have Serve Robotics. They have a negative 0.87 earnings per share. Serve Robotics engages in providing self-driving delivery. It designs, develops, and operates zero-emissions robots that serve people in public spaces, starting with food delivery. The past 3 days appears to have a higher than expected volume. So before the past 3 days, it looks like on average, they had about 5.3 million shares traded. The past 3 days shows 15 to 19 million shares traded. The candlestick for today went as high as $13.69, and now it dipped back down to $11.98. If I only notice one candlestick that pushes the stock price higher, then maybe there's a higher chance of Serve Robotics going back down. The fact that there are 3 strong candlesticks with higher than average volume pushing the price higher, this tells me that a lot of traders, they're still holding on to the positions. Even today, when it dropped, the previous closing on Friday was $11.80. So even though it dropped today, it was still higher than the previous Friday's closing price. Next one, we have Asana. Earnings per share is negative 1.12. Asana engages in the business of developing a work management platform that helps organizations orchestrate work from daily tasks to cross-functional strategic initiatives. So the earnings came out on December 5th, resulted in a 70% surprise for the earnings and 1.79% surprise on the revenue. After the day of earning, wow, their stock price shot up as high as $22.54. Earlier today, when it closed, it reached another new high, closes at $24.87. The fact that there are two strong candlesticks pushing it to the upside leads me to believe that many traders are trying to get in on the action. And I believe, it's not the all-time high. Asana reached as high as $145. Rubix Incorporated engages in the provision of cloud data management solutions. Its solutions include backup and recovery, VM backup, Microsoft 365, ransomware recovery, database backup, cloud solution, and Polaris Sonar. Earnings came out on December 5th, resulted in a positive 47% surprise on earnings, resulted in 8.59% revenue surprise. And this one seems to have a really big volume push. On December 6th, last Friday, showed 17 million shares traded. On average, Rubix trades about 2.38 million shares. Because it's one strong push, I'm not as confident compared to the other stocks. Where if it has like two strong, higher than expected volumes, then this would have given me more confidence to maybe put some more money on the stock here. The fact that only one day had that strong, higher than expected volume, I felt like is not really a strong candidate compared to the other three stocks we saw earlier. But still, this is a good one to keep on your watch list. The next one I have here is GitLab. GitLab's earnings per share is negative 0.31. GitLab Incorporated provides code hosting and collaboration platform services. It offers continuous integration, source code management, out-of-the-box pipelines, agile development, and value stream management. Okay? On average, GitLab has 2.38 million shares traded. December 6th shows 13 million shares traded. The past, I would say 1-2 days shows a strong, higher than expected volume. Now, this one we would have to be really careful because the past three candlesticks, even though it appears to have higher than expected volume, it ended on a red note. Whenever I see candlesticks with high volume, but it pushes it towards the downside after closing, kind of like a red flag. It seems like a lot of traders, or maybe they're not really swing traders, more like day traders. Maybe people are just trying to day trade it, hoping to catch the low and sell at the high and then close it out for today. That's what it seems like to me. The fact that GitLab there's a strong resistance here, I would say this is one of the weaker candidates compared to the previous four stocks that we just reviewed. But still, this is still something to add on your watch list. All right, the next one I have is GWRE, Guidewire Software. Let's check this bad boy out. Okay, Guidewire Software has a 0.36 earnings per share. Okay, so this one is actually a positive earnings per share, unlike the other stocks we looked at. Guidewire Software Incorporated engages in the provision of a technology platform which consists of software, services, and a partner ecosystem. On average, it has less than 1 million shares traded. Recently, it had 5 million shares traded. But the 5 million shares traded pushes it towards the downside. And even though there's a small wick here, I felt like this bottom wick is not strong enough to show a strong support. At least not yet. Now, the candlestick that we're looking at today actually also resulted in a red candlestick. The RSI right now appears to be less than 30. So if someone's going to be trading it based on the RSI methodology, then this could be a good one to get in. Especially when the RSI is at the daily time frame, less than 30. This is a sign that the stock is beat the fuck up. Now, this stock, I'm sure most of you probably heard of it by now. Lululemon. Lululemon Athletica has a positive earnings per share, 13.87 cents. Wow. This means that they're a profitable company. So out of the 7 stocks that we review, based on earnings per share, Lululemon is probably the one where long-term investors or swing trader would gravitate toward. Because in order for long-term investors to invest in stocks, they would need to make sure the company is profitable. 13.87 USD. This is a good number. Lululemon Athletica Incorporated engages in the business of designing, distributing, and retailing technical athletic apparel, footwear, and accessories. Okay. I've never actually bought anything from Lululemon, but I've been inside their shopping mall. And man, it felt like a Gucci store. It's really fancy and they really overcharged the merchandise. So Lululemon looks like on average they trade about 2.5 million shares up until recently. December 6th, it looks like they had close to 11 million shares traded. Today, they had close to 4 million shares traded. The past two candlesticks pushes the price towards the upside. Lululemon went up as high as 420 level, and it pushes back down, closes at 404. The fact that the earnings per share was over $13, and earnings actually came out not that long ago. So we should be safe on trading this. Earnings that really pushes it higher. There was a 6% surprise from earnings and 1.6% surprise from revenue. So I felt like this is a good one to maybe keep your eyes on. If someone asked me to rank these stocks as far as volume, I would put Lululemon in my top 3. I'll put Nano X Imaging top 3. And then the next one I would probably put is Asana. The fact that Asana has 2 strong candlesticks and 2 candlesticks that represents higher than expected volume. So that's my pick for this week. Lululemon, Asana, and Nano X Imaging. Alright guys, now the next part, let me dive into some technical stuff. Let's run it for our top 3 stocks. NNOX. So NNOX uploaded data from January 3rd, 2023 up until the current period. NNOX, on average, can have a price swing of up to $1. So within the past 50 days, 47 occurrences shows NNOX can change up to $1. So that's the past 50 days. Let's look at the past 10 days. Within the past 10 days, NNOX has 8 occurrences that can change up to $1. The second most common occurrences, NNOX can change up to $2 a day. There were 2 occurrences. Alright, let's run my second favorite stats. Weekday stats. So this tells me what is the best day to trade NNOX. So from looking at this, it looks like the best time to buy NNOX, assuming if you don't really have time to follow the RSI and you have a certain amount of hours within the week and you prefer to trade by days, then I would say Wednesday or Tuesday appears to be the best time to buy NNOX for swing trading. As far as the best time to sell it, Monday historically shows a 5.63 gain. Wednesday shows a negative 6.91 gain. Oh, so this is another metric I look at. Consecutive candlesticks color. This tells you the consecutive color, whether it's red or green. And if you look at the history down here, it's kind of like a roulette table. What I like about NNOX setup right now is the fact that, see how the colors, it ranges from green, red. That's what I prefer. When I see a lot of green, red patterns, it means that the stocks can fluctuate back and forth. The candlestick color that I've coded is a formula where I took the closing price minus the opening price to calculate the red and green color. So let's say, for example, on row 237, it shows red. That means that the closing price of $8.38 was lower than the opening price of $8.39. So it calculates that as a red candlestick color. So it looks like, on average, NNOX can have 9 consecutive red candlesticks, so something to be careful of. But it can also have 5 consecutive green candlesticks. So this tells me that when NNOX goes south, this can go south for a long time. So just be careful with NNOX. I've also calculated the RSI. Right now, NNOX RSI is sitting at 72. So let's go ahead and compare the RSI on TradingView and see if it gives us similar numbers. So according to TradingView, RSI right now is hovering about 72.07, which is close to how I've calculated. Depending on how you round certain decimal places. I have it calculated at 72.02. TradingView has it calculated as 72.07. Close enough. Okay, now let's look at Serve Robotics. Alright, Serve Robotics. Let's look at the stock metrics. Okay, this one, the price is not imported. Let me go ahead and refresh this guy. Alright guys, I've just loaded up my Python script. So right now it's connected to Yahoo Finance. Downloaded all of the data elements. And now I'm ready to run the stats on SQL. So I've actually instruct the code to download price points from January 1st, 2023 up until the current date. Alright, now it's refreshed. Here we go. So it looks like Serve Robotics started back in March 8th, 2024. That's the earliest price point. Serve Robotics, within the past 50 days, Serve can swing up to $1 price range. 33 occurrences. That's the most common scenario. The second most common scenario for Serve Robotics is it can change up to $2, and there were 13 occurrences. So let's look at the past 10 days. The past 10 days, there were 7 occurrences of a dollar price swing. There were 3 occurrences where Serve Robotics changed up to $3. Oh, wow. And I believe this happened recently where Serve. Yeah, it looks like Serve spiked up so much recently that now the average price swing is about $3. All right, let's look at weekday stats. This is great for those who are busy. So for weekday stats, if someone wants to buy Serve Robotics, best time to buy is probably on a Monday or Tuesday. Monday historically shows a negative 11 points. Tuesday shows a negative 7. And Friday is where it gains the most. Historically, Friday gains 4 points. So that would be the best. Buy on Friday, sell on Monday or Tuesday. If someone wants to trade it based on some sort of weekdays, right? All right, next let's look at the consecutive candlesticks. This one has 8 reds and 4 green. Again, it looks like when it goes south hard. When it goes green, I don't think it goes green for a long time. Another one to be careful of. And let's look at the RSI. RSI is 69, so if someone's going to be trading it based on RSI 69 is on the high side. So just be careful with this one as well. And let's look at one more. Lululemon. Lululemon, we have price loaded from January 3rd, 2023 up until now. The past 50 days shows $9 or more price changes. 26 occurrences. Wow. Okay. That makes sense because Lululemon is priced higher than the other 6 stocks that we looked at. It makes sense for this to have a price swing of $9 or more. Okay. So within the past 10 days, again, Lululemon has 6 occurrences that shows $9 or more price changes. The second most common scenario is $5 to $6 price changes. Wow, okay. This is a good one to keep in mind. Let's look at the weekday stats. So if someone's going to be trading it based on weekdays, best time to buy would be a Tuesday, negative 44 points, or a Wednesday. Wednesday shows negative 66 points. Best time to sell it would be a Friday. Friday shows 150 points gained. Okay. Let's look at the consecutive candlesticks color. When it's green, Lululemon has 6 consecutive candlesticks. When it's red, Lululemon has 8. So this looks like it's pretty balanced out, right? When Lululemon goes green or red, it looks like they are kind of even out. And recently, let's see how Lululemon looks like. Lululemon for the past 2 days closes on a green candlestick. So the closing price was higher than the opening price, therefore it's green. Now, if someone wants to day trade, someone could take this analytics and say, well, the past 2 days, Lululemon opens lower and closes higher after market closes. If someone wants to swing trade, then you better off just buying it on a Tuesday or Wednesday and then sell it on a Friday. That's based on weekdays. If someone don't really care about following weekdays, there's also RSI someone could look at. Here's the RSI. RSI is 82.58. That's considered high. So watch out for the RSI level. But if someone's planning to trade on the volume level, volume for Lululemon looks good to me. Friday had the highest volume. Today, the volume is still higher than average. Not as much as last Friday. But still, something tells me Lululemon will continue to go up higher and higher. Lululemon did not close a gap from March 21st of 2024. So there's a high possibility Lululemon can go up as high as $469 level to close the gap here. Typically, when we have stocks that has a gap down or gap up, it seems like it closes up the gap eventually. So we haven't seen this closing gap yet. It's possible Lululemon is setting up for a bull run and it's going to eventually close the gap here. Now, Lululemon went as high as $515. At least in my area, I've seen a lot of Lululemon at the high-end shopping mall. So, that shows that it attracts more higher-class customer base. Out of these selling stocks, the only one that I've tried flipping today was the NNOX. I made a small profit of it. It's not in Trezella yet because I typically don't refresh Trezella up until Saturday morning. So when I refresh it, I will show you guys my flip on this. And if I happen to flip any one of these other 6 stocks, I will also create a follow-up video. That's all I have. Thank you for your time. Talk to you guys next time. Peace.